Welcome to Integration Nation. I'm Dee Daniels for Allison Sullivan's Integrative Health Team. We are so excited, Allison, about so many things, including how this wonderful, powerful podcast is spreading to so many people. This is a podcast that people are really connecting with, and we're seeing that in the downloads and in the shares, and it's really exciting.
It's really exciting. Even in the comments, my hope was that this content and this platform would resonate with the community because I believe so passionately in holistic integrative mental health, and it is so exciting to see the community building up around it.
It truly is an integration nation because so many people from all different parts of integrative healthcare are coming in to say, hey, I want to be a part of this.
Yes.
And I want to do this. So we're actually finding the community really stepping up to say, let's all have this conversation.
Absolutely. And that's the whole point, to educate people about the effectiveness and the power of integrative mental health and to build a strong, vibrant community to share that with.
Now, of course, if you have questions or comments, they're always welcome. You can drop them off all kinds of places via email. You can do it on Instagram, on Facebook. We have all kinds of ways, and we will likely, if you would like for us to, answer those questions in our next Q&A session. But this week, we have a very special guest we're so excited about.
Yes, I'm giddy. I have been beaming from ear to ear all day about our guest today. Our guest is the one and only Brian Lamb, the owner of Skin and Touch Therapy here in Fredericksburg, and soon to be open in Culpeper as well. I am so excited to talk to you about the emotional life of our bodies. Thank you for coming today, Brian.
Thank you for having me. When you suggested or invited me, I was so happy, and I was like, oh, I'm so glad. I was looking forward to this for so long. So I'm glad we're finally sitting together in this room.
Me too. And you know, when I started thinking about having you on the show, it was after I actually had a deep tissue massage with you. And so why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about you, about your background, about your business, all the good stuff about Brian Lamb.
Oh, sure. Well, I'm a massage therapist, and I own Skin Touch Therapy in Fredericksburg. But now we have a whole host of therapists that do skincare, massage, nails too. My background, I was originally from New York, where I studied. I started first with aesthetics, which is facials, and then I went into massage therapy. But then I also got my yoga teacher training after that. So I've kind of taken all these three worlds and just combined it into my career, and just so it's been great. I've been doing it for 10 years now, and growing a business alongside of that too.
Yes.
My own practice.
So tell us a little bit about the labor of love of Skin and Touch.
It is a labor of love, and Skin Touch Therapy is really like my education, basically. Like I started with skin.
Yes.
I learned about how much skin really reflects the health, and how to work within that. You know, skin's an organ. And then I really loved massage. I just was like, I think this is what I want to go into. So then I went back to school and did massage. And then I thought yoga teacher training was a great way to combine it all. So
Absolutely.
I have really different perspectives of that and how I practice my work, which I think why, I guess, word spread when I moved to Fredericksburg, because I think I approach it differently of massage, and
Absolutely.
I'm very like therapeutic about it.
Yes.
In terms of how I address different issues with different people. So now I feel like really, you know, I've been doing it for many years, had a lot of bodies on the table, which is why I'm so excited to like share kind of what I've experienced,
Yes.
you know, and how we integrate that with, you know, mental health, mental well-being, or just an overall just kind of how this either massage, skincare, or yoga is a component to integrated health.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's dive in, because as I was telling Dee right before we started, the first time I had a deep tissue massage with you, I got in my car afterwards and I sat there stunned and thought, never have I ever. And I think what was underneath that, or what I was referencing when I was saying that to myself, was when I was on the table, there was something that I was experiencing about what you just said, the integrative aspects of how you were seeing the connections about what was going on in my body and how you were using your skill in kind of connecting with my body as it was. That may be a clunky way to describe it. And it made me start thinking about Bessel van der Kolk, who is a leading traumatologist in the United States. And he talks about how the body keeps score, how our bodies register every single event, every experience that we have. And that energy is in there until we work it out. And I think that's a particularly useful aspect of massage and massage therapy.
It is. I think because it's a very physical manifestation of emotions. I think a lot of people think of memory as just located in the head.
Yes.
But when we interact with the world, our body is physically moving. And like if we get stressed, we hold our shoulders up. And that's how trauma or emotions get locked in our bodies, because our muscles remember and they're positioned in a certain way. And so massage therapists, we just are trained to feel that, and we know where the natural body should be, and we're trying to always create that balance. So we could feel that imbalance, and we're just trying to get you back to that balanced state. And within that, when we unlock those things, then the emotions come out, or the traumas get released, and it gets very tied in with emotions because it's not separated.
Yes.
They're very interconnected.
Absolutely. I think that's why, we have a massage therapist on site as well for that very reason. And one of the things that's happened to me after being on your massage table as well as others is I will have emotional experiences afterwards. And I told you the other day, the last time I had a massage by you, for 2 days, I had bizarre childhood dreams about aspects of my childhood that I thought were resolved, integrated, and apparently I had more work to do. And so I think that that's a really important point for listeners to understand the power of massage. It's more than just feeling a little more relaxed in your muscle. It's about feeling more at home in your body.
Yeah, there's a whole spectrum to it. And really, so our business is skin, and there's like a little plus sign in touch. And I think it's really interesting because I feel like why I named it that too is when the skin is connected with touch, then the person really focuses inwards. They're connected with their body. And there's a lot of times when people come in and they're like, I'm just getting a massage. And then they're like, whoa, I just discovered all these things. Or like, I didn't really know that was there. And then they're really learning about themselves. And like really massage in this world where we're so connected, we're so distracted, when you have that 1 hour, where you're not being interrupted, it's a one-on-one kind of experience, and then you have quiet and you're just connecting with your body. Of course, there's the therapist going through what they're doing, but really you're within yourself. You're going to discover so much more. Things are just going to unlock, and you just have that time for yourself.
That's such an important point. And I think even as connected as we are in society today, I think we're more disconnected than ever from our bodies.
Yes.
In some ways. And so having that hour to really solely connect with yourself in your body is such a powerful vehicle for change.
Right. And like you've talked about self-care, and it doesn't need to be an hour. It could be 30 minutes, or it's like, or it just anything that really you disconnect and you're just within the body. And like what you talked about, breath, all of those really help us really connect within and be present,
Yes. So tell us a little bit about what you have discovered in working with people for 10 years about the emotional life of our bodies and how our muscles can store that stuff in, and how you bring that into balance more specifically.
I think awareness is like the first step. I think when there's awareness and then you realize, oh, okay, something's there. How do I process this? That is the most meaningful, because I think a lot of people don't have that awareness.
Yes, I agree.
I think life carries you, or you're distracted. Your body, I always tell this to my clients, is that your body is always going to help you just move forward. Like if you break an arm, it will heal itself itself so you can just do what your arm needs to do. Does it heal it in the most proper way? No, that's why you need a cast,
Right.
And you need a doctor to get it set in that right place. So like massage is kind of the same way. Your body is going to hold all these tensions and stress for you to just focus and move on with life. But to release that, you need someone to kind of work through it a little bit.
Right, right.
But that, to bring that awareness in will help that person, and they could find different people to kind of work through the emotions or work through what they need done, whether it's physical or emotional. Those are all, and I think that's where the therapy aspect comes into it.
Yes.
But it's really interesting because the body, a lot of people, everybody reacts to stress differently.
Isn't that the truth?
So like a lot of my clients, I do a lot of trigger point work to kind of release a lot of tension.
What is that more specifically? I know what that is, but I want our listeners who may be interested in massage for the first time and unsure of what trigger point is to get a better feel for
I think
that.
it's helpful. We're going to probably name a lot of different names for different massages, so then people can access the correct therapist.
Yes.
So then they could find who would be really good for them, because everybody is different.
And has a unique skill set.
Right, exactly. And everyone sees massage differently, but everyone might, when you're listening to this podcast, you might be like, that's what I need. And now I have the name for it.
Yes.
So I could find that person.
Yes.
Trigger point work, it's just a theory in terms of there's points in the body that are holding this tension, and then it's causing pain. It could be somewhere else.
Okay.
And when you release these points, you're going to see this, like, the effect of it, and it's going to release pain in other areas.
Kind of like a cascading effect.
Yeah, and it kind of thinks of the body as all interconnected, almost like a spider web.
Oh, I love that
visual. And there might
visual.
be like a tightness on one corner, but it's going to pull the web. And so when you release that, then the web loosens up, and then the pain can disappear, whether it's near that point or distally, or distant-wise. So, and I find that to be very effective for lots of people. People with fibromyalgia, people with just tension, headaches. Sometimes people may have headaches in the front of their head, but really it's coming from their back of their neck, the occipitals, because there's muscles. And because massage therapist understands the anatomy, and I love anatomy, which is why I love like yoga and everything. So I always imagine the body almost 3D, like where the muscle fibers are. And so that's allowed me, it's informed how I practice. So then I know where the connections are.
Yes.
So that's really my work in how I approach it. So I do a lot of trigger point to help people release certain things, whether it's physically. But there's emotion tied to it. So I've had people that were like, I just need to cry. And I'm like, this is a safe space. Please do.
I'm so glad you said that, because I tell clients that, and I think it will make them feel more confident hearing you as a massage professional saying that is something that is fairly typical and not looked at as like, oh no, something's wrong here.
Oh no. I mean, I think we really, any therapist would be elated that's
absolutely
happening.
Yes.
That's what that person needs. And we helped kind of connect that, and facilitate that.
Right.
So I think it's always such a great thing to see that we always want the best for the client and to kind of meet them where their goals are at, So I think every massage therapist, they're listening all the time, whether it's not verbally, I'm always listening with my hands and feeling the muscles. And that's kind of how I know too. Like I'll work so I could feel that balance. I could feel that release, whether it's subtle. And I always say, like, if I feel the change, my client's going to feel the change,
Absolutely. And there have been many times when I've been on your table and you've said, does that feel different? And right when you're saying that, I'm like, it's better.
It's crazy. It's kind of like magic. That's why I kind of love it,
I know.
And it's so interesting. I love what I do. And it's just to see the benefits and to see the change. That's why I feel like, okay, it does work.
It does work. And I the passion for your work absolutely shines through, not just in your massages, but in your business.
Right.
So What is the difference between deep tissue massage and a Swedish massage?
So yeah, typically Swedish. So Swedish, the term used because they probably introduced it into America and they were the ones to do it. So it's called Swedish massage, which is basically, I form it as very relaxing. It's what you're gonna get. It's they call it effleurage, which is a French word, and it's flowing movements. It helps kind of brings down the parasympathetic, and just kind of brings you down and relaxes you a little bit. And it's great. It reduces like all those stress hormones, the cortisols. So it's really beneficial. And if someone seeks that, then Swedish is your game.
Okay. Yes, it activates that calming and connecting part of our nervous system.
Yeah, exactly. And so deep tissue, I always say, is going to bring that to a little deeper level. You're a little bit more aware instead of you trying to drift off and kind of get into that between sleep mode. Deep tissue, you're kind of connected in your body. We're working with not just the muscle belly, but we're also working with tendons and different connective tissues. We're doing trigger point. We're doing myofascial release. There's a lot of, and you're getting deeper pressure. So the sensation is going to feel more deep. But there's a lot more involved with that. And it tends to be more therapeutic. Whereas if you're just going for a Swedish, it could be a spa day and you're just there to relax and have fun and you just, want to zone out. But with deep tissue, I feel like we're going to work on something. What do you want done is something. Do you have pain somewhere or, are you restricted in movement or range of motion? So that's what really deep tissue addresses. So deep tissue is just the general kind of umbrella. And then within that, you have your different forms like trigger point, and I mentioned myofascial.
Right.
Somatic massage is more about the trauma and emotional release of it too.
Yes.
So there's different types when you go into that kind of therapeutic massage work.
Oh my gosh, thank you for that explanation. I am certain everyone listening feels more empowered to make a choice, because I know I've heard from clients sometimes when they're in here and they're trying to decide how to incorporate massage.
They don't know what to get.
They're like, well, what do I do?
Yeah. And I think a lot of thing is just ask questions like, what is, we answer that question a lot, and it has a description on the website, but it's just best. We have a front desk person, but ask your therapist, well, what is this? Or I've heard about Rolfing, which is very different.
Yes.
That's very like structural integration, very physical, but it works like in series. So there's lots of different theories for massage and how they address and approach different angles of things. And a good therapist will kind of find their track and will know, this is what I do, this is how I work, and this is how I can help you, which I think is great. And then an experienced therapist is able to really clearly state that, like, I've experienced this before, this will take this many sessions, and you should feel this, and this is how you do post care. I think all of that comes with experience and time.
Yes, and I think that's really important for listeners to be able to hone in on, that there is a process, and there are benchmarks in that process. I want to go back to something you said that I think is particularly powerful for people working through things. Part of what I do in here is meet people where they are. It's a hallmark of social work, and I heard you say that too, meeting people where they are in their bodies, and in particular with deep tissue massage and the deeper sensation and working with more than just muscles, working with the tendons and the ligaments. I think there's therapeutic value in helping people get more comfortable with all of the sensations that they are experiencing in their body during that process, and using their breath as a way to regulate the sensation and feel safe in the sensation. Because so many times what I see, even if it's not trauma-based, is that if people are living from here to here, and I know nobody listening can see me, but
you're touching your head.
I'm pointing to the top and the bottom of my head. If people are disconnected from their bodies, then just getting reacquainted with what do different sensations in my body feel like, and how am I responding to those sensations? Am I bracing against
Right.
them?
Yeah.
Am I scared of them? Am I overwhelmed by them? What's going on? When you're in a deep tissue massage and working with someone like you who is also trained in yoga, it's an opportunity to become more familiar and intimate actually with all of the different sensations in your body.
I think that, I mean, that's interesting. And I think it all happens in that session. You know, I think it happens, there's an internal dialogue with the client. They're like, what's happening? Can I do this? Can I breathe through this? So that's happening. But then there's also the interaction with the therapist.
Yes.
Which is great. And a great therapist, I always think, is like a great dance partner. You know,
yes,
they're going to go
great
with the
analogy.
flow with you. Mm-hmm. They're leading it a little bit and you're kind of following along. But there's a conversation being had without it being verbal. So
yes,
I think
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's exactly my experience. It's a conversation and a dance.
Yeah, and it does, but it's a great way because that internal dialogue is people being like, oh, I didn't know that was there, or oh, that hurts. I want to figure out what that is. You know, oh, I had this pain for a while, and and they're like, can I breathe through it? When they realize they breathe through it and it's done, there's an empowerment to it.
Yes,
and
not only is it done, but they feel better. They
Right.
feel more connected. They feel relief in some way.
They feel connected to themselves. They also feel like this pain that I've had that could be debilitating or always just nagging at you is now released.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
So I think there's a lot of that, you know, that it happens within that self. And I think when people realize that, they're like, wow, okay, this is why I'll do massage, or
yes,
I think also with about people connecting to their bodies within yoga, we were talking about this. You know, a lot of times it's like the teacher will say, "Put your arm out here," and they look perfectly straight. You think you put your arm out there, and that's where you are, and then you look at the mirror, or they come around and make an adjustment, and you're like, oh, I didn't really like proprioception and introspection. Like that's all, you know. It's not a very clear-cut black and white. You know, we always think we may know ourselves a lot more than we really do.
Yes,
you know?
That's such a great point. And those big words that Brian just used are about, you know, how we see our position in the world, our bodies, like where is my body in relationship to the environment, and how am I relating to myself within my body? And so when we can do that more accurately and with less overwhelm, it helps us regulate our emotions and it helps us stay in our neocortex, our wise mind, more often. So I think that's another layer of benefit for massage is that kind of body wisdom that's there. As you said, our body has so much wisdom that maybe we've just kind of tuned away from the channel of that wisdom, and using massage as a vehicle to get that channel
back
tuned
to
in.
Connected. Yeah.
Yes.
I think it helps with the yoga about the core, like finding your core, because then you're at a more solid foundation.
Yes.
And then you could kind of go forward in life a little bit too. I think if you're physically not having pain, you're not distracted.
You're not distracted and you feel more capable and competent and grounded.
Right. Yeah.
Brian, thank you so much for being here. This
is so fun.
Before we wrap up, tell us about all the exciting news about your Culpeper location. And I want to hear a little bit more about your infrared saunas, because there is some interesting new research about how that can help with mild depression. And you have infrared saunas at your business.
We do, yes. And I'm inviting you to come and try it out. So infrared saunas have been great, and it's different than a traditional dry or wet sauna. It's not very suffocating, but there is heat. The heat is like light energy, which is infrared.
Yes.
It's the same type of technology that they use as incubators for babies, so it's very safe. And it's a gentle warmth that you get. And I always think of like, it's energy. You know, you're just absorbing energy. It's helping you relax muscles. And there's all these benefits to it. You know, you're gonna sweat a little bit, but you can have different degrees to it. And it's we have these little cabanas built now, so you get a little privacy. You could sit with yourself. You could also have another friend. But there's a whole host of it, but you're getting a light energy spectrum that you normally would get, but it's concentrated and you get more heat with it too.
That's something for everyone to check out. Now tell us about your Culpeper location.
So Culpeper is great. I've always admired Culpeper, and they're downtown. So we're going to be on East Davis Street. We're going to be opening up mid-April or so. We're going to offer massages and skincare first, and hopefully with some expansion to our full spa like we have in Fredericksburg.
I am thrilled
I know,
for
it's
Culpeper.
really exciting.
They have no idea what's getting ready to
Thank you. What's going to hit them?
what's going to hit them. They're going to be so excited.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. So
thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I love
appreciative.
talking about this stuff. So
Well,
I'm sure
we
could
would
talk
love
for
to have
hours.
you back anytime.
Awesome.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. And we always love having guests here on the podcast. But that, you know what struck me with that was that something Brian said, you can really get empowered. That struck me. And I mean,
Which is the whole point.
we're all looking for that.
We are.
We're all looking for that. And that's something that, of course, you know, we want to meet people wherever they are.
Yes.
But at the same time, we want to give them the tools where they are.
To give them the tools to keep moving in the direction that they want to go.
Absolutely. When you are looking for how you can help yourself, how you can help your friends and your family and those that you care about, this is a great podcast to share with people.
Yes. And fun fact, Haley, our wonderful assistant, has done some website upgrades. So you can contact us in any way conceivable through our website homepage now. In the upper right-hand corner of our homepage, you will see 4 cute little buttons.
Ooh, I love buttons.
That will connect you to Facebook, to Instagram, to Pinterest. You can find us any way you prefer on our homepage. You can also email us from there too.
Yeah, and if this episode in particular has touched you, has really ignited something in you to say, I am feeling a bit more empowered in this moment, share it with someone, but also drop us off a 5-star rating and a review.
Yes, and if you have a comment, a question for Brian, please send it to me and I will get with Brian and we will answer your question.
I just want to find a place of peace. I want to figure out how to get grounded. I want better sleep and less stress. But I don't really know how to meditate. I don't have time to learn. How do I even begin to know what kind of meditation is right for me, for my life? Finally, you can find peace of mind through meditation that meets you right where you are right now. Skip the frustration of not knowing how or where to start with a powerful 5-week class called Meditation for Beginners. Allison Sullivan and Associates Integrative Mental Health Team in downtown Fredericksburg will show you 5 types of meditation. You'll benefit from easy instruction and meditation practice that will help you relieve stress, and you'll find plenty of time in this class for Q&A and group discussion. The group setting is comforting and welcoming and very empowering. Would you like to truly discover the quiet, the peace, the fullness of the present moment? If your answer is yes, then find your place in Allison's Meditation for Beginners class. Sign up today at allisonsintegrativehealth.org. There's a place for you. allisonsintegrativehealth.org.